So it is 8:30. I do want to get started. As people come in, you can always catch the recordings later if you're watching this. Morning, Papa Bill. I'm gonna leave the comments up here so I can see your guys' comments. Sometimes I get going too quick and don't see the comments because I try to get a lot of information in 30 minutes. So I want to cover really quick a little bit about the morning insight that I put out this morning. So just to touch real quick, I labeled these just because some people weren't sure which one they are, and I do one screenshot for all. So the SPX for those that are new, and the SPY are going to be market imp. They're going to be stocks that impact the market that will impact crypto. So if these go up, crypto goes up. If these go down, crypto goes down. These control typically Bitcoin, which typically controls the market cap, which typically is everything, right? I throw ETH in there just because a lot of people trade ETH. So sometimes you won't see me put ETH. If it's following Bitcoin, there's really no need. Um, on the right side here, I like to monitor the VIX. The VIX is basically going to be inverse to the market as well as the Dixie. So if the VIX is going down like it did here, the market is going up. So it's a good way to watch the inverse. So that's what those mean in the market cap. Currently, we had a pump on SPX over since Asia Open and at the market close from the fall on Friday. The SPY is kind of following. I'm not suspecting it's going to hold. Um, I think that they're trying to bring the stocks up to kind of correlate with some of the other markets, and so that way they can get a little more of the long contracts before we pull back. But I still believe we have a pullback that needs to happen before we can push further. Um, which is probably why you see the VIX coming down. You see the Dixie kind of in a slow downtrend. Once these find support and they start to pump up, that's going to push this down really good. So jumping into the total market cap, as we put this out like I think a week or two ago, we have a very strong trend line on this red trend line. If we go to the hour, you can zoom way out and see I can't even find it there. So we'll go to the daily. So you can see here we have our 2 points, and then we have our third point, right? So that's going to be very strong, and it actually meets at the previous high resistance. And you can actually see this. I was anticipating the double hit here, but if you take it, move it up to this actual peak, it actually lines up perfectly with the actual peak. So we can zoom in, check that out. Da, da, da. All right, yeah, see, almost right on, right? So I just think that this is going to be a very difficult area for it to break. And the thing that I put out in the room here, as you guys seen, always look at where was our most volume, right? So you had the pump up, the tank, the reclaim, the tank. I mean, it's just a fight right here, right? But pay attention to the outskirts. Massive volume candles coming up, small bearish candles, right? And a lot of long wicks, meaning the bulls are kicking in, right? So if I zoom in just a little bit, make it easier to see. So you can see a lot of long wicks. This means the bullish pressure is a lot stronger. And so as that held, then you got this double bottom. That's where you saw this next pump, right? But the bears do not want it to pass this line, right? So that's why you're seeing this big fight and these oscillations. But take a look at the size of these green candles right here, right? Even right here, and then look at the size of the red ones, right? Not nearly as big. And then it wasn't until we got into here, you see a real big red one, followed by a real big green one. And then we had a nice slew of just nothing but red. But look at these green candles. I mean, there's just the bodies are not very big, right? The volume itself is slowed down, so the reds aren't too much bigger. But if you notice that the wicks are not continuing, right? They're shrinking, right? On there, the wick sizes of the red versus the wick sizes of the green here. So a lot of what's going on, I think, right now is if you zoom out here, you can see a lot more volume on this side than there is on this side. The only thing holding this up is this 200. Once this 200 breaks, it's going to fall, right? That's going to be the my anticipation is when this 200 breaks, you're going to see a push down, you're going to see another bounce, then you're going to look for that rejection. The rejection is what will cause the big fall. Typically, the break is not going to cause the big fall. Um, so that's kind of what I'm looking for here. You can see the divergence, the strong bearish or bullish, I mean, has already kind of played out. So there's just a lot of kind of in limbo. But at the end of the day, you guys always hear me talk about it, guys. Like, I mean, I said it back here when we were pumping like crazy and we were holding and holding, and I was like, gaps are gonna fill, and people are like, no, we're going to the moon. And I mean, look, we actually created a lower low, right? Um, and the interesting part is people go, oh well, because I get comments on the side, oh well, we created a higher high here. We can't create a lower low. Well, we created a higher high here, and we still created a lower low here, right? I mean, yeah, it reclaimed, but I mean, it's very, very possible. Don't ever count anything out, right? If you really zoom out, remember on a gap fill, anything halfway fill is going to be considered a gap fill, right? And so when it came up and it fell down to here, that's our halfway mark, right? So that's what we considered this as a gap fill. That's why we just went long only and just rode the wave up at that point. And so that's what caused this big pump. So now when you take this line, if you take a trend line, right, that follows those hits down there, and you just kind of pull it out to here, the anticipation is going to be for this gap to fill. It's likely that it would need to come retest this line somewhere in here, right? And it could still create a higher low, which would consider us still being bullish. So just keep an eye on that. Bitcoin, I'll go quickly. Looks like the call I put out is TP1. It's likely to gonna hit TP2. I wouldn't stretch it past three or four if you took that short. It could break below, but the safe bet would be TP2. So Bitcoin again is going to be the market cap pretty much the same thing, right? I mean, it's just kind of hanging on. You go to the 1 hour and you can just see, I mean, just every time we had a gap like here, we fell from 24.2 all the way down to 21, right? So, and then considered our gap fill, pumped up, and then it actually did the final gap fill, right? Because notice if you see here, this one wasn't quite halfway. Halfway is more like in this range. And so even though it double bottomed here, had one more pump, it's still gap filled over time. Now, if you take from here to this peak, it's about the same as from here to this peak. So that's why my anticipation is we're going to have a pullback probably to around 25,060 at least to retest this previous resistance. And then if it has any kind of momentum or news to help push it, then we could see as low as this range here around 24,000, 23.8 because of these previous resistance line. Now, if it decides that it's time for a full gap fill, then we could see as low as 21.5. But my anticipation is we'll probably push down into this range here again for a bit before it tries to gain some support, and then the possible extension of that fall. As far as going up, there is potential because the anomaly I don't like when I talk about all my bearish scenarios is if you take this trend line where there was support, which turned into crazy resistance on the way up, right? The whole way up it's just resistance, 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 and then look what it has turned to. It has flipped to support. So this line has to break. If this line does not break, we can definitely continue up. So, but you can see each long wick and crazy pump has been off of this trend line, right? And so it correlates pretty close to this orange one, which is the 200. So if the 200 breaks and this trend line breaks, and we anticipate some resistance here, that's when you're going to get that big fall. So keep an eye on that. So let's jump on to the ATAs. We got about 20 minutes here. So I'm running Aave short long, ETH short long, LTC short long. I'm doing Matic long only and Sol short and I think long. Nope, Sol's just short. I wasn't sure if I added the long or not. So let's just take a look at these ones that I'm running now. I'm going to load this up. So for those of you who are new, I don't load these up because in the huddles I want to show you guys how these work. So you just click this layout arrow. You're gonna load layout. I want Aave, so that's what I titled it when I created it. So let's see how my Aave is doing. Aave has been doing okay. It's burned me a little bit in the past, so I was reluctant turning it on. But I like the range that it was in when I went to the 1 hour. You can see we're really like dead in the middle, right, of the range. I turned it on back here somewhere for the longs, anticipating that we could hold support, but I also wanted the short. That's why I turned on both because we could reject too. So if you go into look at how it has been doing, it's not too bad. You can see I'm currently in a long, and it just currently sold my short on that pullback there. So you can see my longs have actually done better, even though we've gone down a little bit. $21 in 2 days, and then 15 for the shorts. But I like it so far. The settings I'm running is 5% on the DCA2 with the parabolic SARs. I'm growing to like the parabolic SARs, guys, during the volatile times because it's a lot more safer. You can see the entries are more spaced. They're not it's not as aggressive. So, if I were to flip this to range filter or something, it might have made more. Like let's see if and you can, as long as you can flip it back, right? You can always test. See, actually, range filter. Let's see, it would have got stuck. So range filter is amazing. Moving average is amazing if you know the trend that you're going. Um, but if it tries to trade it against the trend, it tends to get stuck because it's almost too aggressive sometimes. But now, if I were to take this and put the long on range filter, I bet you it earn more. Let's see. Yeah. See, because we're going with the trend. But see how aggressive this thing is? I mean, it just wants you in a trade nonstop, right? Which is great. If you see a trend coming, I mean, you could crush it, right? Doing that. And that's why a lot of times what you'll find is I'll run parabolic SAR if I don't know where it's going up or down, but I'll run if I'm constantly rejecting on an area, right? Like right now would not be a terrible time to flip my parabolic SARs to on short over to range filter because we're hitting resistance, right? And we're likely to see some pull down on the trend. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it as it is. I mean, it's doing pretty well. You figure in 2 days, yeah, 2 days it's made 36 bucks. So I'll take it. Um, yeah, so I'm not gonna mess with Aave, but that's why I'm running it. I'm okay with letting it go, so we'll move on. So let's go to my ETH. So my ETH I actually took over manually because I had on the pump. I don't remember where it was, somewhere here. I tried to force my way out because I wanted to change a setting, and I got caught. I caught the pump on my long by doing it, but I got caught on the short, and so I had to fight my way out of the short a little bit. That's why you see these got reset lately a little sooner. But I reset this one yesterday and this one yesterday too. But you can see since yesterday, the shorts have made about $6. The longs made about 15, so about 20 bucks. So I'm not too upset with that. But currently where I'm at with them, I have a short which is almost in profit. I have a long which is not, right? So my DCA level is going to be this kind of white line. If you can't see it, you can always mute it. So these white lines that are below, those are DCA levels. So this one right here would have not DCA'd again until it got past this white line. This one, the first DCA is this one. The Somebody had asked me the reason why it doesn't show all the DCAs in one shot is because it doesn't know where to put that second one. So the second one is a percentage based off of your average, but it doesn't know your average because it doesn't know where it did the first one, right? So that's why I can't show all of them at once. Because just because this line is here doesn't mean it's DCAing here. And that's what's powerful about our ATAs is this could actually fall all the way down to here before it DCAs, right? Making it a far better DCA. And so which would drastically change because if let's say we posted the DCA1 and DCA2, and this were to fall all the way down here, right? It's going to do its first DCA, but it will then push its second DCA down farther, right? So that's kind of the power um, of how that works, right? So um, looks like we're still coming back on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at this real quick. Yeah, guys, see how we're continuing to push down. Um, it's gonna be an interesting day today, guys. Monday's gonna be interesting because they like to fake out a lot on Mondays. So ETH is not stuck. I'm good. I haven't even DCA'd on the long. The ETH settings I'm running is uh apparently my longs are on range filter. Um, I actually want to change that. Hmm. Um, and my short is or my DCA's is 3. Um, and then I have my short as parabolic SAR. I kind of wanted to reverse that, but and then that's at 3. So let me look at my dashboard here. Let me bring this in. I'll show you guys how you can do this if you want to. Because y'all know me, I don't shy away from taking a loss if it makes sense, right? So how would I fix this, right? So here's my trades that I have open. And so here's my Ethereum. I know that my short's in profit, so I don't want to touch that. But I kind of want to modify my long. I want to put it back on SARS. I don't because I'm not sure that we're gonna go up. Um, so for me, it's in a negative $2. I mean, I could wait for it to get out, but for the peace of mind, do I really care, right? For $2. So if you want to get out of it, all you'd have to do is hit close. You confirm, right? And then now you'll scroll down and you'll see um, once you hit refresh, let's see, you have to hit the refresh button to pull the trades again. You can see that the long is gone. So now that the long is gone, I can reset my long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ETH long, and this is why I always like to check it. I mean, guys, once you get good at this, it doesn't take very long to check these settings because you may want to change something, or there may be something you did over the weekend that you don't really want to do now, right? So I'm going to put this on the SARS because I'm anticipating over time we're going to have more of a pullback than we are going to be a pump. So if anything, I would rather my short be on range filter, but I'm not going to touch that. So I have this back on my SARS. I'm doing my 3 percent on the DCA, so I'm good with that. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to create my alert. I think I took my webhook out, yeah, because I was doing another alert. So I got that copied. Always just check your webhook. If that's not in there, it's not going to work. Um, and so now I'm going to just do ATA Gambit ETH short. I did not do long short. Mondays long. This is why before I hit create, I always look. So I looked up here and saw this long, and I'm like, that's not short, it's long. Hit create. All right, and we're good, guys. So now we modified our ETH long. I mean, guys, don't try to win every trade. I mean, I don't care about a $1 or $2 loss if it gives my ATA the ability to now get back to earn. I mean, I can earn that back in one trade, so I'm not worried about it. So actually, the trade that the shorts in, I think is going to be end up being probably about that. So we're okay. So you can see the shorts really close to its profit line. So we'll see that should be closing here shortly. If it let's see, let's watch it actually. So give you a perspective, the reason why I want to watch it. See how it has 5 seconds? Once a candle closes past this green line, it is an instant, like guaranteed win. It cannot not win. If you've selected touch, if this candle comes up and touches this green line again after a candle has closed, then it will close that trade. Otherwise, it's just going to leave it open until it comes down. So what you do is you find yourself watching this going, okay, cool. I have a guaranteed win. I'm excited. Let's see what it's going to do. Then you're rooting for it, going, come on, let's get TP2, TP2, come on. You're sitting here going, come on, keep falling, right? Keep falling. It's almost there. So, because it takes the stress out of the trade because it's already a win, guys. No matter what, it's out. It's going to be a win. Now you don't, as a trader, this is the powerful part of our technology, right? Look at this. Wow, that short actually played out. See what I was telling you guys? That TP2. Look at that, perfect. Um, as a trader, the worst thing that we do, especially new people, is we take profits too early. And so you get a lot of really, really, really small wins, and then your big wins you never really get. But you're happy to hold that loss forever, right? So you take those big losses. Um, Looks like my Solana just closed a short. So you can always see your log here, right? So that's going to tell you what's going on. So far I've had Aave closed the short, Solana closed the short. Look how close it's bounced off of TP2. Now, guys, I want to always keep in mind, I don't recommend it, but it is your money, right? So if you think you're going to get a bounce and you refresh this and you look at ETH and you see that it's in good profit and you're like, dang, I just took a $2 loss. I kind of want to just secure my profit. You can close this whenever you want, right? I like to just let it go because like, what's the point? I mean, it's either gonna when it passes this green, it's either gonna continue to fall and you're gonna take a big trade, or it's gonna come up and hit this and then you closed out. But you will never, I'm telling you guys, as long as I've been trading, you will never get these big wins if you don't allow it to do its job. So you've already secured a win. Don't be greedy, right? Because how many times do you go, oh man, it's up 20 bucks, I'm gonna close it. And then the market tanks and you're like, oh my gosh, that could have been like a $100 win, right? I mean, it happens all the time. So just that's the beauty of the ATA. That's why we built the ATA because we want people to take that emotion out, right? Take that wonder out, and that's how you get those TP7s that happen from time to time. So, um, yep. So that's where my ETH is. I got about 8 minutes. So let's skip through the others. So we'll close the ETH. Let's look at. I'm gonna explain why I chose. Let's check LTC. I think my LTC is in a long. That got stuck. Let's see. Yeah, it's parabolic stars too. But let's anticipate. Let's look where the long is. Yeah, see the long is a little bit stuck, but that's okay because look at this is why I moved this second DCA to 5% because I'm in a long. I've DCA'd one time, right? It almost got out, but then it lost its steam. And but now it's either A, gonna go up and get out in profit, right? Which it's just been doing all this time. It's been ranging, right? You can look back and see it's just been ranging. So my profit lines are in a good area. I'm not worried about that. But let's say we hit a market crash this week and it falls, right, down to here. My DCA is not until the next level of really good support, right? So if I posted this line here, it's probably, um, yeah, see a lot of good resistance is what that was, which could eventually turn to support, right? So I have a good DCA 2 level. So even though it's a little bit stuck, I'm not too worried about it. Guys, I want to show you LTC is a absolute monster. In 5 days, even though it's stuck, my longs have made $149 on Gambit. So pretty awesome. My shorts, $186. So just LTC. This is why I run LTC on this. Um, if you can run LTC very strategic, it can just earn so much money. It's probably one of my top earners right now. But I've earned, in 5 days over $300 just on Gambit, um, running this. So shorts are doing pretty well. You can see hasn't really got stuck too much. It has a DCA 7 times, at least DCA once out of the 30 trades. So not too bad. The longs actually have done better. Look, only 33 trades with only 4 DCAs. So even though it is stuck here, um, it hasn't really gotten stuck too much on the longs. Look at this, how cool it did this. Look at this. Bought it, got a massive TP7 out of it, which is probably why I got so much profit on those. And then if it let it fall the whole way before it bought again. So, and that's parabolic stars doing that, guys, because the range filter probably would have tried to get in here somewhere and get a um, get a trade in, which would potentially have got it caught. I mean, it would have got out, right? But that parabolic stars is a lot more patient. See, it does it a lot. See, it did it here again, right? Took its sell, waited for the fall, rode it back up, took its sell, waited for the fall. right? So it took its sell here, it waited for a little bit of a fall, but it was a little bit early, which is okay. That's why we have those DCA protocols in there. So, um, but yeah, so I'm not too worried on my LTC. I got a plan. My shorts are looking good, so I'm not touching it. My longs are a little bit stuck, but I got a good DCA. I'm currently running against SARS. I got two DCAs running the 5 on the second DCA, and then also the 5 on this one. So same thing for the short is what I'm running. So that is my LTC. Let's go into Matic, and then Sol, and then I think by then we'll be done for our time. I'm not going to cover the other pairs right now. If you have a request or you're running one, you have a question on it, let me know. But I don't anticipate me wanting to run any of those. So you can see my Matic here is now stuck. The 2 days that I had reset it has made $23, so it has done well. The reason why I had chosen to do Matic is one, if you pull out here, there's a crazy support level here, right? And the crazy resistance is not until up here. So even if it pulls back, I'm anticipating some good support somewhere in the 95 to $1 range, and a pretty hefty bounce like it did here. The one thing I like about Matic, why I had chosen to take the risk of the long only, even though I think the market's going down, is even if, as you notice in a downtrend, every time it comes down, there's a big spike. Down, big spike, right? Comes over, big spike, comes back down, reclaims, right? Even in this fall here, had a good reclaim, right? Even in this fall here, reclaimed. Even in this fall here, still had a decent reclaim. And so every time it does come down, it just tends to. I mean, look at how many longs it took in an absolute downtrend, and it still got out, right? Because of the pumps that it gets through this downtrend. And so that's why I'm okay with running it. I mean, you can even see in this downtrend here, right? Any DCAs it would have took, I mean, it would have got out because it just happens to reclaim that pretty well. So when I looked at the back testing, you can't see it here, right? Because um, I don't actually. Why is that not showing that? My yellow. Oh, you know what? I don't know that I closed the candle. Let me see. Because it wasn't in a trade, so I know I closed it here. UTC 5. Let me change this time. Hmm, interesting. But I don't think I put the yellow on there is why. Oh, I'm on the 2 minute. There, guys. I'm telling you, Monday. Pop Bill, where were you? You're supposed to have my back. I'm like, why is this not showing? There it goes. Yeah, so $23 in the 2 days. um, But yeah, so you can see my DCA2 is going to be somewhere in here. I'm anticipating a bounce. That would move the entries somewhere in here. That bounce will like get us out if we do pull back. So that's why I'm doing that. Now, I did want to counter it because I don't like to just be heavy in one direction or the other if I don't know. So I was researching the pairs. I decided to take a Sol short because when you go to Sol, you can see it's creating its lower highs right here. It is finding support on this line, right? And it did go a pretty big pump like that when it hits this line. So I do want to stop it if I get anywhere down into here because the risk of that parabolic movement is going to be not good. Um, so I'll keep an eye on it. I mean, we definitely could push up here, but when I had ran my back tests, I really liked. So you can see here, it's made $18 in 2 days, right? I mean, but I really liked how spread out it was. So like you can see my back test is still here. But you can see how spaced out it is. Not a lot of DCAs. Even in this, up, right, it weighted, um, pretty good spaced out here. It was similar to Matic to me, to where the shorts look pretty good compared to the longs. So I was thinking it was a pretty good comparison to Matic. So that's kind of the counter that I'm using. I'm gonna probably hold this through another day or two and just kind of see how it goes to determine if I want to keep running it. But so far I'm pretty good. But guys, think about this. I mean, I have four pairs running. LTC made what, $300, and I think it was what, a couple days. This is made around 18, 20 something, and then each one that I'm running has made between 20 and $50 each direction. So I'm up probably 400 or 500 bucks in like 5 days running this on a gambit, right? So very very directional. I'm gonna keep these ones going, like I said, for now. If I make any decisions to stop any, um, it will probably be just thematic, short and or long in the soul short, and then the other one that I probably would consider stopping is Aave, ETH, and LTC. I like to run those ones. Those ones do pretty well, and I've always been able to kind of work my way out of them if I need to, manually. So that's kind of where I'm at with the ATA. Um, again, I want to just touch one last thing. I know we're 2 minutes over. I want you guys to keep in mind, right, when we're setting these directions, and this is what makes me think a little bit on my LTC and my Matic, that it may get stuck a little bit, but that's okay. If you go back to, let's go to the 15-minute chart. So if you go back to, let's see, let's go back to the end of last month. So this is the 27th, where we are, right? Monday. So we had one more pump, but what happened after it pumped? Boom, went from 23.8 down back down to 23. Then we came back down to 23. We actually pumped all the way back to 24, but this is the first, right? So end of the month, remember, is right here. What happened? Boom, the big fall, right? Came. So if you look back at the prior months, right? So similar. So you had 27th, right? Had a little pump up, pull back, one more push, then a fall. Right? Pretty much on the first, well, this is the 30th. Now it did reclaim it, but ultimately at the end of the month and the first week of the month, what happened? We reversed and we went down, right? So this was caused from our double bottom on support, right? But at the end of the month, the markets love to always throw one fake. So that could have been yesterday. It still could be today, right? They like to throw one more little push, right? And then you get the big drawback. And then typically, and it's only the 27th. So that usually tend to happen between the 29th, 30th, depending. I think the one last month was on the 27th because it was the end of the month because February. So we may have a day or two. My anticipation, if I had to take a stab at it, it's going to be a little volatile, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then Thursday will be probably like late Wednesday, Thursday, will be when we'll see that true pullback. Um, and that will be what will get gap fill this. So just keep an eye on that. So I'm going to anticipate that if my Matic long gets out, um, and profit somewhere along that road, I may make a decision to stop that Matic long just because, and I'll keep this all short because my anticipation is the gap is still more south. When I see this gap fill, then I will be more prone to be a little more aggressive. What I want to happen, guys, and I'll leave you with this. This is what we want as traders using this ATA technology. We want to come back to this 19,000 range, sorry, because if y'all remember when we were at 19,000 back here, what did I say? I mean, you can look back and see where I put it. I said I'm running 8 pairs long. That's it, all of them. And look at how that played out. So we want to be, to me, we're higher in the range. So theoretically, you should be saying, I want to run 8 pairs south, right? Because the likelihood is that we're going to come back. But we also could go parabolic in a bull market someday. So that's more risky, right? I love the falls because Bitcoin has proven to be resilient in this area, somewhere between 15 and 19. So I know that's my range. So I can be super aggressive on the longs, right? To ride those oscillations. And so I want this to fall, guys. I want it to come down to like this red line right here, or my teal line right here, somewhere in the 17, 18K range. Oh gosh, like we would literally make so much money. I would turn on all eight on my gambit and just maybe add a stop loss or something just to be safe and just let that sucker just rip. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of news coming out, a lot of bank stuff. um, I didn't really cover the economic news. I don't want to. I hate going too far past because I don't really like to intend to make these huddles really long videos. But let me show you really fast. Not a lot of news today. Nothing really U.S. You got tomorrow. The only thing that's going to kind of impact us, I think it was tomorrow, yeah, is going to be the consumer confidence report. That typically pushes us up or down a little bit. So expect some volatility tomorrow around 10 a.m. And then Wednesday, the crude oil inventories is the big one. That one tends to push us up or down. And then aside from that, I don't think there's anything. I mean, there, other stuff in the other countries, right? But the PCE price index will move us a little bit too. But there's just not. I mean, this one's a big news day, but there's a lot of two heads, a lot of euro. Um, there's not a lot that's going to just absolutely destroy us, right? And so I'm not anticipating a ton of news, but those will be the two events that I would watch for. So, um, but yeah, just be safe out there, guys. Let the ATA work. If you're low on available balance, continue to hedge. You can see I have it drawn out here. If I mute this, we're um, got a descending triangle forming. So, and you can see it actually touched it again pretty much here. So if we pump up and hit this and we come down and break this and retest it, then this is going to fall pretty heavily. So, but this is the trend line you want to watch. If we break this above it, then that will give us one more crazy push up to this level. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and let's get to trading.